Following podcast may incite original thought, culture, sufficiency, and smarter conversations. I think I just done fucked up on that one immediately.
That's okay. Self-sufficiency. You've been self-sufficing things all day, so it's okay to fuck up.
We're gonna keep Granduncle as the logo, or do we put on some pasteles? Where we at today? It's all about
Keep granduncle because it's about parenting. And granduncle never had his biological children, but I'm sure he parented a lot.
yes. He
So
had one adopted daughter, if I'm not mistaken.
there you go.
I
There you
don't
go.
remember the name off the top of my head, but everybody, on behalf of Torre del Viejo, this is the apple on the desk. It's not
Meow.
shoot the shit, so I'm gonna try to behave.
Try.
Keyword: try to behave. And we're here with Sandy Felicies, my love. How are you? And thank you for doing another episode of Apple on the Desk.
It's my pleasure. I'm okay. It is a full moon and I am a teacher. Hence, this is why my glass for today is not a steaming cup of coffee, but my wine glass given to me by one of my students because he knows that grief that he gives me.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah. Mm. It's been a full moon. So if you have children in your house or around you, um, yeah. Here we're going through the seasons. It's warm today. So kids kind of like react to that warmth. They get hyperactive. They kind of like their bodies kind of like, okay, it's warm. Let's go outside. And they just, yeah, they do a lot. They do a lot. But I am okay, I think. I'm okay. Thanks for asking.
When it comes to teachers, you never completely know.
No.
Everybody in the audience, if you see me going to my phone, we have other people trying to connect.
Bing. So yeah, let me tell you guys about a little bit more about what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. So one of the one of the things that I was talking with Sobrina, and if Sobrina, if you're watching or if you get to tag on, I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing you through the comments and whatnot. We were having a conversation because she had spent earlier this week with her two nieces, right? Lulu and Letha. And
Alita.
right. And so they're both toddlers. And we were talking about parenting and how parenting can be tough. Thank you, Mom. I sent you a link, Mom. If you're seeing Carmen, welcome. She's like our number one fan. She's always on. If you wanted to like make some comments or whatnot about parenting because you were parented by a different generation, then well, actually,
Yeah,
I was
that'll be
parented.
interesting having mom on in this
Yeah,
conversation. You know what I mean?
because
So it's like, yeah, you see this? It's your fault.
thanks, Mom.
Yeah, wait. Look, you'll be fine.
Oh, you really? Okay. So we were talking about parenting and we were talking about the different techniques that she's trying to come up with as an auntie, right? As a titi to her nieces in comparison to the parents, right, of these beautiful girls. And how different each parent parents. So I thought it was a really good idea to kind of like bring that to the table and say, hey, let's talk about that because parenting is not easy. Parenting is, I think, one of the most difficult jobs that anyone can inherit, whether they're your
But just like
children.
a job, if you enjoy it, can you call it a career?
Absolutely, and I think it's a passion also. If you enjoy it, um, there's good days, there's bad days. There's, I had a bad day at work. The bad thing about parenting is that you can never really clock out, especially in those younger years. You're always on 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 a year. And there's no like a period of extension of, well, okay, I'm done with that. Nah, man, there's just new phases of parenting, So Carmen can comment on parenting adults because she's a parent to adults. She's our parent, you know what I mean? So it's just like, and there's still things and phases that we go through as parents to parent adults. You worry about them still. You want to make sure that they're okay. And what I kind of wanted to go into today was um some research that I did. I was like, well, if we're going to bring something to the table, right, especially the desk, right, today, I'm always going to research something. We research everything that we put onto this podcast. There's no haphazard, oh, okay, we're not going to, we always research. So research is important, guys, and use the tools that you have always. But I found that right now what they're calling it is like 4 different types of parenting. That seems to be the trend now. They always have different labels and classifications because that's how humans think. But there are 4 different kinds
Yeah,
of
but
parenting.
lately there's like they want to classify the classifications
Oh my
within the
God.
classifications that
Yeah,
have
we do.
already been classified, just in case you
Seriously.
weren't clear on it.
Seriously. That's just, it's way too much. It's way too much. So I kind of research. I'm gonna.
Can I please, before I forget, and I want to start it off with this because I don't want to end it with this because it's
Uh-huh.
just is for yourself and for those who are watching. Has anybody been up on what's been happening with Cain Velasquez?
Oh wow, no, I
It
have not.
was his son is the kid that got molested
Mm.
while he was supposedly at daycare by a dude that lives in the same building as the daycare. Now, contrary to popular belief, Cain actually went to the cops first. Then it goes to court. In court, the guy they state he has to get a an electric bracelet thingy, and
Yeah.
they let him go, no bail.
Mm-hmm.
They let him go, no bail, back as long as he doesn't leave his home, which is in the same fucking building where there's a daycare, and he already has arrests and cases on him because of child molestation and harassment.
So well, let me get this straight. I need to process this. This man already has a previous offense of child molestation, right? So that means that
Yes,
he is
sex offender.
a sex offender, pedophile sex
Yes,
offender. Okay.
right.
And then there was another case, which is Cain Velasquez's
Son.
son, and they released him on bail with a grillete. We know the electrical bracelet thing. Okay.
And they didn't even put it on at the moment when Cain caught up to him. He was supposedly on his way to go get it on.
Okay. So here is where we have a social criticism of the breakdown of the justice system. Why? Why was this man released? Why was this man released without bail when he's already had previous offenses? From what I understand, and I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts and stuff like that, and unfortunately that kind of category of sociopaths are constantly being overlooked. This is
But
Lord have mercy.
Cain was held in jail with no bail
With no bail
because they
because
said
he was,
he's dangerous, he's a menace, and it's
because he's
like, well, if you knew that, if you knew he was one of the bad, like there's this podcast, this dude's called Jesse on Fire, and I
Mhm.
agree. If you knew this man is the baddest motherfucker on the planet, you know what I mean? For like, what was it, 6 years? Something like that. Cain Velasquez was on top, the baddest motherfucker in the planet. You know what this dude did to his family. You gonna let this dude go? You just gonna, like, you throwing it in his face, like, ha, Cain, look at this. You know what I mean? Look, yeah, he's walking away right now. What do you expect him to do? So yeah, I wanted to start with that so we can get that story out of the way.
I need
And
another
then
drink.
because it has to do with parenting and it's
And that is
everywhere and it's shameful. The dude hit somebody. He went in and he shot and he hit somebody who he shouldn't have hit, which was the father of the dude. Okay,
Mm,
fine. But as soon as he saw that he hit him, he stopped.
mm-hmm.
He wanted to go for the dude that molested his child. It wasn't a busy intersection. It was like they call it an intersection just because the roads go like this, but
Mm-hmm.
one is an overpass, the other one's over here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 12 fucking miles of farmland around it.
Hmm.
So he wasn't endangering anybody except for
Right. So
still, yes, okay, by law, you just can't go out and buck a dude. But yo, what the hell do you expect? We're talking about parenthood and parenting.
yes.
What do you expect to happen?
What would you do as a parent if you see that the person that just finished, that molested your child, and you went through all the proper um ways of handling the situation?
Audience, I'm not going to get into details, but we had a scare
Hmm.
decade and a half ago, and I went absolutely ape shit. So I do not at any moment put any type of blame towards Cain Velasquez.
Aaron, I agree. He would have been all set without question. Yep. Yep. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because as parents, right, especially the male figure, and I want to say this as openly as possible because I'm trying to be, me, I'm always going to be like, okay, I don't judge, I don't separate or whatever. We're looking at parenting. Whatever you want to call yourself, I don't care. But there are roles, whether it's a gender or not. So I don't even want to say male. Is traditionally the male, right? I'm going to say it that way. The protector of the family is traditionally the male. Then you have an alpha male like Cain Velasquez, whose career,
I don't like traditionally
okay,
because it makes it sound like it's just a cultural thing, like it's something that can be broken. Things can be added on to, but you can't take away from that feeling. It's instinctual.
okay. So I would, can I
Because
call it?
because something that I think, I'm sorry to interrupt again, something that I believe is that the furthest we think that we are from animals, which reign by numbers, you know what I'm saying, in the world, the farther we're getting from being earthlings. We could say we're humans, we're above and whatever. We could say it only because we have the gift of speech. That's
Right.
bullshit.
All right.
You know, a
Yeah.
lot of things that we do, animals do, and a lot of things I think we should actually take example of
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to change things that are already in our DNA.
Correct. Correct. So what I was thinking is like the protector of the family is going to be exactly that, the protector of the family. And if that's the role that that person plays, then that person is trying to be a civilized human in their society by following through with the rules. But if that doesn't work, like you said, instinct is going to kick in. Instinct is going to kick in, and you're going to go ahead and protect your family one way or another. I try to do it the civilized way. I try to do it according to what's expected of me as a human being in this society. It didn't work. Be it because of racism, be it because of a breakdown in the system, be it because of a consequence, just bad fucking luck. It didn't work. Yeah, of course, I'm going to be the one to drop the F bomb, right? In Apple of the desk. I got a potty mouth. Oh, well. Um, He's like, yeah, it wasn't me. That's okay. All my students know I love profanity. So, that's not the case. The case is
Music
that
to my
the
ears.
the protector is is going to do the protector's job. And if they feel that this person is already getting away with it, not only is that protector protecting, right? And in Kane's case, not only is he protecting family, he's also protecting any other child that might cross that person's path. That's what he was trying to do. That's what he was trying to do. So that's at least my take on it. That's my take on it. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
Now, now that we spoke really quickly, hi mom. Now that we mentioned quickly about parenthood, parents and protecting, I want to ask you this, and I know I'm going to stir up some shit.
Uh-huh.
But that's what I do. I stir it up with a big fat ladle. Here we go. What about those parents that within that when it comes to their schooling, what about those parents that end up trying to protect their children from things that aren't really harmful for them? Meaning, why is that you have it against my kid? How come my kid is this? No, 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 no. They're not allowing my kid to progress. I'm going to go all out for my kid because that's my kid. You got to respect my truth. And my truth is that my kid is number one and this, that, and the other. But they're not there to see that their kids are picking boogers or falling asleep when they should be attending the class and doing their work.
So we call those helicopter parents. That's what we call. I swear, that's exactly what we call those. Oh, she's a helicopter parent. The ones that are constantly hovering around the child. El que no rompe un plato. Mi nene no. Right? Have you remember that, Carmen? El que no rompe un plato.
Yes.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
and Carmen is like, so guys, just to introduce, hi Carmen, this is mom. She's our parent.
Hi, everybody. I'm a little late. I was
No,
tending to my other adult child.
there you go.
Dad?
And
No, the other one.
that's the first one. When you
Oh,
get
okay.
married, you get one. Once as soon as you get married, you get your first child. That's your spouse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't prepare you for the rest of them, though.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, and look, before we get comments and emails, I was foraging, okay? So I got holes all over my shit. I don't want to hear anything. Continue.
Yeah, if you're keeping on Torre del Viejo, follow through because we've been seeing your progress. It's been impressive, buddy. It's been impressive.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very much. Very much.
I feel
Are you feeling
attacked.
attacked? All right. So Carmen, yeah, that I guess I can go into the classifications of the research to answer your question as far as those helicopter parents, right? We call them helicopter parents, the ones that are constantly hovering around and try to build a bubble around their child. We call those helicopter parents because they're always just not too far away to just dive right in and pick up their kid when they're messing up, right? But I did some research and I found on an article from Very Well Family. I can put the links on afterwards if you want, after the show. But I found that they've kind of like broke it down to 4 types of parents. Now I found the first 2 kind of like confusing, but bear with me, okay? So we have the authoritarian parent. Which one do you guys think that would be?
Do as I say because I said it.
Yep, the authoritarian. The word kind of like says it all. But then you have the authoritative parent. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
I
All
have
right.
no idea.
So the authoritarian is exactly that. They focus more on obedience and discipline, and they focus on the punishment over the discipline, right? You don't do what I say, I'm going to punish you. If you don't, hurry up and get this done, I'm going to punish you. Basically, I'm the boss. You say what I do, and that's it. Okay. Then you have the authoritative parent, which is we're going to have a relationship. I'm going to listen to your point of view, but I'm going to make sure that these rules that are here, okay, are the ones that we follow. It's my job to make sure you follow the rules. Annabelle says these parents do not allow their children to be independent, that nothing happens to them, and that's exactly what will happen to them in their lives. Okay, exactly. Nothing, neither good or bad. So those parents that are those helicopter parents, they don't want anything to happen to them. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen is exactly that. Nothing is going to happen to them to stimulate their growth as independent people. And that's actually pretty interesting that she says that. I like that. She's also a parent of she has, oh my God, La Brujita. Oye, Annie, how is La Brujita? She must be amazing. So she calls her daughter the little witch. With good reason. With good reason. She's a handful. She's amazing. But yeah, she's fantastic. I mean, this kid is just awesome. This kid is just awesome. I guess would be considered a special needs child. So she's a parent of a special needs child. which is for me super parents. Super parents, because this is just a
Mom is
whole
one.
different game plan that you got to revolve
Hmm.
yourself around. You prepare yourself all life for one kind of kid, and then all of a sudden you have this blessing to teach you a whole new world, a whole new
Hmm.
world behind it. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. So yeah, basically what they say about the authoritarian parents, the ones that said because I said so. And then here comes the smart ass with, because I had the authoritarian parent, every now and then, because I said so. So my smart ass would say, but why you say so? Because of the why.
And
Yes.
that's why we say because I said so. Because you really don't know what else to say. I
You
said
know
so.
what to
Just
say,
do
because
it.
I hit that why phase really hard. I drove my mom crazy, my whole
Mhm.
family crazy.
I did not. I'm gonna interject real quickly. I did not, because my god brother Anthony Rivera, I saw him in one weekend get hit in the mouth at least 50 times, backhanded with the knuckle. That real sazon one, pow, pow, the one that'll
Mm.
make your whole jaws quiver,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because he wouldn't know how to shut up. So I was like, okay, hold on, time out. I can learn by my mistakes, or I can learn by other people's mistakes. He's older. Let me watch how he fucks up. Okay, I'm not doing that. So
Mm.
as far as I can remember, I don't remember hitting that why phase very, the know it all phase. Yeah,
You still.
Yeah.
mom can
Yeah.
tell.
You had the know it all phase. And for a while, you had the why. And you had the I'm not going to because this is what I want to do. And I'm doing this. And that
Yeah,
was,
but that's your fault.
that's the
I'm
That's
still
your
frustrating.
in that
fault.
That's
phase.
That's
frustrating.
you, Carmen. That was all you. He got all of that from you.
Yeah,
All of
I
that
know.
was you.
That's why it was frustrating. How do you argue with somebody who's like you?
I got my hands set up for me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
the authoritarian parents are famous for saying though, because I say so. Now, what the research has driven them to understand is that when they focus on the punishment instead of discipline, so there's a difference, right? We got to separate
Mhm.
that. Punishment is go sit in the corner until I tell you not to, but they don't understand why. So they just understand I got to sit in the corner because I did something wrong. Why was it
Right.
wrong? They never got that message.
No, that's the wrong way.
That's
Well,
that, and we can
I
say
feel
it's wrong because it doesn't help
exactly.
the child understand the lesson. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what is it that you put a what you do as far as the authoritarian parent? The children, they say, grow up with strict authoritarian parents. They tend to follow rules much of the time, but their obedience comes at a price. um
Hmm.
they become more hostile or aggressive as adults. Rather than think how to do things better in the future, they often focus on the anger because, hey, if I get scolded, you'll probably see those same kids playing. You can tell what kind of parents they have as a teacher. I used to watch it when I used to teach in pre-K. I used to watch the kids, and I can tell which parents were just like the kids were just happy-go-lucky or whatever, and which ones were really, really strict, because you'll see the kids, mira, ita, and you see the handshaking and the finger
Yeah,
pointing and the hitting and all of that. So you see how, because kids emulate what they have at home, right? So you'll see the
Hmm.
difference. You see the aggression. Um, the children end up becoming really good liars. Okay, because
Hmm.
they got to learn how to get out of that fire, that line of fire, to avoid punishment. Um, they don't do really well with problem solving because
mhm.
somebody always told them what to do. So
Yes.
these are the repercussions of this is what happens to your kid. Okay, so
Yeah.
you you made sure that they followed the rules. Good. It's important to learn the rules, and the rules are there for a reason. It's important to follow them, but it's more important to understand why they're there, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of
Yeah.
like what the authoritative, I can't say this word, parent does. They explain why. So the rule is there, but why? Now, there's borderline there, because that, and this Joey and I were talking about yesterday, right? We were talking about that. Okay, but there are times that you just have to have the kid follow through, because in an emergency, don't do that. But why don't I do that? The kid, ends up getting zapped, smacked, ran over, whatever the case may be. So you can't over explain yourself. So there's a line that you have to draw. And that parent should be able to have the communication open enough.
There is a technique that can be used, and I've used it. You know what I mean? Because when they get to my class, to my MMA classes, they think it's just gym time. I'm gonna run around and do whatever the hell, and it's like, no, this is martial arts. You got to be careful. You can hurt somebody else, or even worse, hurt yourself.
Right.
So I'm also trying to teach them. Okay, like if I say Wing Chun, they'll automatically line up like this, and they'll wait for instructions. Then from there, so I'll get them used to it. And then I'll tell the teachers or the staff of the school, listen, if you need them to do this, you use this word. If you need them to do the other, you use this word. I feel like I'm training dogs, and there's actually a bit of guilt behind it, because I'm literally training children the way I would train dogs. Because think about it. One word, and I create a physical reaction or response to it. It's kind of funny, it feels like, damn, I feel like what is it, Hoskins in Unleashed letting go of Jet Li's collar.
Yeah.
And we're in MMA class, so that's exactly what's going through my head. Kill him.
But think about it in reverse. Think about it in reverse. You're training the dogs like you would children.
Okay, yeah, that would also work.
Exactly. And the dog does have a capacity to understand language up to the age of a 3-year-old child. So they do have, as far as humans are concerned. Annabelle says, I don't know what they think, but I think that the timeout is for the parents. When they lose patience, they should take the timeout so they don't hit them. And that's fine. I'm not saying, and the timeout isn't bad. I don't think the timeout is bad. I think that the reason why the timeout happens, hi Alexis, that's the sister, Sister Ali. But I think that, me personally, I would probably identify more with the authoritative parent, because I like to explain why, because I wanted to understand why. That's why I went through my whole why phase for such a long time. And I always felt that as a child.
So let me ask real quick. So the hitting is a no-no, right?
That they didn't say that. It never said that.
Because I was just about to throw in this little tidbit of information. In Great Britain, they passed a law to where, with a degree, with there is a lot of restraint on it. But if your child acts up in certain districts in Great Britain, the teacher's going to put white on rice on the kid. He's going to slap your kid. Not slap him in the face, but I'm pretty sure with a ruler back in the days, like on the hand, or there's some type of corporal punishment. And in 1 year, crime went down between 4 to 6% in 1 year in general. And we're talking about adults that have nothing to fucking do with the kids or getting hit by teachers. But somehow or another, they implemented it, and crime goes down like that. And it has not stopped year by year.
So it's continuously declining. Fantastic.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Interesting.
Now, maybe not by huge numbers, but even if it's a 1%, a 0.5%, mathematically, it's still going to keep snowballing. You know what I'm saying? You're still getting rid of the crime by saying, like back in the days, pórtate mal, mira lo que viene.
Salsa.
Huélelo.
I do understand how the hitting can get out of hand and it can do more harm than good.
Yeah.
So
I understand. But if you already told the kid, don't touch, let's say, leave the knife alone, and the first thing the kid does is look at you, grab the knife, and go to put it in a socket, you better toast that little fucker's hand as hard as you can. Why? Because if you don't, electricity will.
Seriously.
If you si tú no le tuestas la nalga, they're gonna jump the fence and start playing with that pit bull. Si tú no le tuestas la nalga, they're gonna steal shit when they go into the fucking store. But you're gonna laugh at it like, oh, it's just a candy. It's just a candy. What about when that candy turns into $1 million worth of candy? Or they out there selling candy? You know what I'm saying? So I think there is even if we were to take it to dogs, yes, you know, treats, here, sit, that. It gets to a point where you have to stop your shit. Oh my.
Because even the
I've been raising pit bulls since I was 15 years old. The what?
That even the dogs do that to their pups.
Yeah.
And gorillas and birds and
Yep.
I've seen hens peck at the chicks just to make sure that the chicks don't go near the rooster. Because she knows that that chick is a male. That's kind of like a little sign on whether or not the chick is going to be a hen or a rooster when it's older. It wants to go to the male. And it wants to fuck with the male. And the male is going to kill that chick. So the hen, knowing this, will first like move it, then start clucking, doing the sound
calling the
to
queen.
call it in. And if not, bang, she'll peck at it. Why? I'd rather hurt you than have this fucker kill you.
Correct.
So
Exactly.
it is natural in us
To
not
discipline.
just to do it, but if we do it so often within almost every fucking animal species on this earth, then maybe it's not this is what we do, it's this is how we learn.
This is how we learn. I think so. So here's my question is for Carmen. When you were coming up, the form of discipline versus punishment, corporal punishment, has that changed when you were growing up versus what you provided, or what you know, as you as a parent, your generation as a parent versus your parents' generation? Because I've heard some stories from my parents and my aunts and uncles about my grandmother. My grandmother was the one that laid down the law at home. She was the one in charge of discipline and the punishment of all of it. So, and I received a lot of that discipline and punishment too on behalf of my grandmother, but apparently not as severely as my parents' generation did, like my mom's generation did. And I say my parents because my grandmother knew my dad and my auntie when they were kids too. So I think my dad taught once or twice, because I think my mom was like maybe 14 and my dad was 16 or 17 when he wanted to propose to her or something like that. So my grandmother knew my parents, you know, especially my.
And in that same thing, was it customary for the in that generation for the women to do the disciplining? Because that's the same generation as my grandparents. And right off the top of my head, I can't remember my grandfather's really, you know what I mean? Now my grandma, mom's mom, yeah. She had quite a collection of belts, and they all said Joey when I was in the house. Unless my cousins were in the house, then for sure it fucking said Sean. You know, it would magically change from Joey to Sean, and I just sit back and watch what was going to happen.
She didn't hit you guys with a belt, did she?
Oh yeah, there was this little
coming out, Carmen.
this little plastic. I think it was like vinyl and half vinyl, half Jedi.
Yeah, the little pleather ones. La finita, porque son finitas para no dar duro.
Titi Wilma had one. Because I remember Titi Wilma going at Sean once. He jumped out the way, and she literally, I shit you not, everybody who's watching, she sliced a big-ass money tree in half.
Oh, my God.
Wow, he moved out the way, and I see the plant just go, I
don't remember that.
And stay out the way.
I don't remember that.
But
to answer Sandy's question, in our house, my mother did the she was the one who, she was the one that put out the punishment. Only because my dad was very strict. My parents were very strict. You know, I mean, I wasn't allowed to leave the house. You know, go to school and that's it. You know, and my brother was allowed to go out, even though my brother just took it upon himself at a certain age. He's going out regardless. You know, and he got a lot of heat for that because my father didn't want us out. He was just that type of a strict person. But mom was the one que daba el fuerte. Yeah, because she didn't. My dad, papi era bruto. So if he hit us, he was gonna hurt us. Okay. I mean, he ran me up the stairs one time. I was, I don't know, I guess maybe 7 or 8. And I stayed in my friend's house. I had permission to go next door to my friend's house to watch TV. And I stayed there too long because the movie was too long. And when he caught up to me coming home, he ran me up the stairs, dándome cojeazo en la pierna. And my legs were like this thin from the first floor to the 4th floor. We lived on the 4th floor. And all the way up, he was swinging that belt. Okay, so anything he told me to do, I just, how high, where do you want it? I'll pick it up, you know, just so he wouldn't hit me. I learned. My brother didn't learn. So my brother, being older, you know, he was, no, I don't want to, or I'm not going to do that or whatever. And so, you know, I learned from his mistakes. I was like, he got beat up. I'm not getting beat up. I'll do whatever you want.
Okay.
You know.
Grandpa was hardcore as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Pero mami era la que daba el fuerte. You know, and mommy didn't have much patience.
Hey.
Mommy had very little patience.
Dusty and I, the three first cousins, the 3 males, right? We're just missing Alexis. Alexis, they didn't let her hang out with us because she's a bad influence. Right? So Jesse, Sean, and I, we were in the park, in the basketball park, no more than 150 to 200 feet away. Like you could throw a rock and hit one of us. Apparently, we were a few minutes late. Grandpa went to go get us with a machete. A fucking machete. Didn't say a damn thing in English or Spanish. We just got up and started walking towards the house, just like that.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed how much a machete can speak in the hands of an old man like that.
All right.
Probably couldn't find the belt.
Ani, I see that you're putting a lot of stuff in the private chat. Can you pop up and look for the comments section so that you can see like, you know, so we can all see it on the comment section. She says a little slap is not a bad thing. The bad thing is when we're in a bad mood as a parent. So it's not going to be just bad. It could possibly be something worse. So is that if we're losing, like, I guess, patience and stuff like that. And that was something that if patience, is it better to retire for a moment to breathe and able to and to be able to explain why? And it is, and I think that's true. I would say that. And that's the difference between being a young parent and then still parenting. You know, you have a kid at a certain age in your early 20s. You're not the same parent if you continue to have kids and let's say in your mid 30s or your early 30s. You're a different parent because one, you learn from the first one. And second of all, you've grown, you've matured. There's not the same early 20s versus you being early 30s.
Yeah.
So I think that that's true. I think as a parent or the eldest child, right? So I was the eldest child of my siblings, and my siblings are at least 9 years younger than me plus. So my first siblings came around when I was 9. So I was like, you know, I was always helping mother them and stuff like that because that's just in my nature. And I did a lot more disciplining than my mom did when it came to my siblings, especially my sister. My sister was a handful.
Question.
Yeah.
Question. I have 3 ladies on the panel. I'm talking like it's my show, right? I have 3 ladies on the panel. All 3 are actively or have worked as teachers.
As what?
Okay,
Oh, let me wait.
as teachers.
Wait.
I remember you working as a
Oh,
teacher, so I asked this: it can you approach both things the same way? Should you approach both things the same way?
No.
And what would be the difference?
I think the short time that I did some teaching, I didn't like it. I'm glad I didn't go into the. I'm glad I didn't finish that field because I don't have the patience for it. Okay, I can't teach. I can't treat my students the way I treat my children, because my children, you're doing this because I say so, and that's it. You know, otherwise you get punished. My students, I gotta have a little more, you know, understanding
I'm not
for
ready to turn off the
it.
camera and walk to the corner.
For the students, I had to have more patience with them and explain to them and whatnot. You can't treat them the same. You just
Hold on,
can't.
fuck them. How come they get the patience I didn't? That's some bullshit.
But you see, your mouth is why you got what you got.
Those are sentence enhancers. It's like music.
But I definitely understand what she's talking about.
You don't understand why I'm talking about him?
He does. He does.
Oh, she does. Okay.
He knows. No, like today, I was so mad. I had some students ask me, could they get on their phones at the end of the day? And the rule is you're not allowed to be on your phone unless it's a free technology day. Well, some teachers, just because they don't want to deal with them at the end of the day during dismissal, just ignore the fact that they're on their phones. I'm not one of them teachers. I don't have the same amount of problems in my classroom that they have, where these kids are snapping pictures of each other or taking videos or doing TikToks at the end of the day, and then they turn around and we've got parents calling or this kid calling or they want to fight because so-and-so snapped a picture of them and posted it. Ooh, sorry. And posted it when, you know, they didn't want them to do it. So I tell the kids, no, you can't get on your phone. And they're like, oh, but miss, the other teachers do it. I'm like, do I look like the other teachers? The answer is no. I turn to talk to another student. I look up, and these little children, I almost said something else.
No, say it.
I pulled out their phones, and they're on their phones anyway. I came so close to talking to them like I birthed them. So close. I just looked at him. I was like, come here. I said, did you not hear me say no? We heard you, miss. I said, but you did it anyway? Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay. All right. I got you. Go sit down. Put the phone up and go sit down. But my own child, you just going to do what you want to do? After I said no, would have definitely got knocked upside the head. You know, you can't, unfortunately, especially now, you can't react the same way as if they're your own children.
No, you can't. You can't.
And I think that's a good point that you said. We do reaction more with our children than we would as a student.
With students, you respond
You
more
have
than
to
react.
respond.
Yeah.
You have to, because if I would have reacted with what the hell is wrong with you little children, then I'm sitting in the office and I got parents calling me versus me calling the parents and letting them know, like, look, your child was highly disrespectful today because I told them no and they chose to do what they wanted to do and let them handle it. And some parents will, you know, they'll be like, hey, you don't act like that with the teacher. And I got other parents are going to be like, oh, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Now, okay, that's as far as discipline. Now, what about actually teaching? Like, okay, you have a time limit when you're teaching in a class, but life goes on. So technically, you have a time limit when you're dealing with life.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean? So, is there a difference there also, or because I've seen when mom used to teach in advanced business college. And the way she would go step by step teaching them conversational English. It's not very different than when mom would sit down and teach me what she was doing on the sewing machine. Mm-hmm. The way she would explain pretty much, but that's one panelist out of 3. What do you think?
I try really hard to take the same amount of time that I would with my own children, with my
And
students.
don't lie about it because they're right there in the car with you.
Say hi, baby.
You heard it.
They can say no, that's not true. They can say no, that's not true.
Yeah, you can answer. I try.
I've learned today that if I'm a teacher, I can't do it. I can't do it. My patience is like this small, and once it runs out, I'm done. I'm done. If one little thing makes me mad, I'm done. I'm just mad.
Nana, what grade you in?
9.
Ninth. Okay, you still got a couple more years. Because I said the same thing when my teacher told me I was going to be a teacher. I said, I can't do that. I'll kill them. I can't do it.
And that's exactly where she's at right now. She used to be on, I want to be a teacher, but lately she's like, I'm gonna kill one of these kids.
Especially how they act now. Like I see, like I can imagine. Like let's say I want to teach 8th grade. The kids that I see now, like my niece, like the people I consider my nieces and nephews, are so bad and they don't listen at home, and they're getting whoopings. And at school, I can't do anything like that. I'm just like, you have to sit down. Don't do that. I'm going to call your mother. I'm going. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all.
Oh Lord,
my patience will not
that
be
goes
it.
back to the type of parenting. Because if you mention the parents and they don't flinch,
yep,
there's something going on.
So thank you for bringing that to me. That was something that I was just discussing with my colleagues today. I said, because we saw one of the kids getting reprimanded by their elder sibling. Okay. She came in and said, why are you acting this way? And then he was like, why is he saying all of these things? And he thought he tried to bring it to the sibling because he tried to like act out even at the sibling. And then it is like, the truth of the matter is, if they think that they can talk to an adult this way, that's because they speak to their adults that way. That's just the short and long of it. So I teach middle school kids, and these kids think that they can talk to their adults around their way this way. If it comes across their mind that they can talk to an adult this way, then what makes you think that they can talk to any adult that way? If they have the gall to do it to their teacher, then they have the same gall to do it to the parents. So why are the parents acting like I didn't teach you this at home? Now, this is what I do. I put both parent and teacher on this and student on the spot. So I have stopped my class and I said, excuse me. And I put it on speaker. I was like, hi, is this such and such a parent? And like, yes, this is. I was like, this is Miss Felicies from Horizon Science Academy. I'm your child's English teacher. I'm calling you, and I just want to let you know that you're on speaker right now, and my class is in here, but your child is in this class. I wanted to know because I think that your child forgot that you raised your child to be respectful to not only adults, but those around them. I just wanted to confirm this is a lesson you did teach them, correct? What is my child there doing? I put them on the spot. I put both parent and child on the spot. Why? Because I'm reminding that parent, you better get on them because they're forgetting the lesson, or you better hurry up and start teaching them what they need to learn. Because a lot of the parents that I work with are younger than me. These are young parents. These are babies. I'm at the age right now. I'm working with parents or kids who they look at me like you're around my grandma's age. Okay. Yes.
And that's crazy to me.
Whoa.
I was in a meeting today with a parent, and the mom is 26, maybe 27, and the grandma is maybe late 40s. And it's like, wow. Like, and the grandma just was talking. The mom was sitting there kind of just playing her fingernails, like, yeah, I'm here. This is my daughter, but she had him when she was 16. It wasn't even okay. I got pregnant at 16. You had him at 16.
Correct. So this is what a lot of these
parents. It's just like, wow.
So then going back to the type of parenting, you have the authoritative that didn't explain why you had to go through these consequences. right?
Mhm.
And then you have the authoritative is the ones that do explain. The authoritarian is the ones that didn't explain. So I think I identify more with the authoritative because you're gonna get disciplined. There's gonna be things that you don't understand, and the reason why you won't understand is because
Right.
now you haven't had the experience to get it. My grandmother has passed on. It's been 11 years since mommy has passed. Okay. And I'm still learning from the lessons that she taught me when I was a child. And I go, fuck, I get it now, mom. I'm still
Mhm.
learning.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mhm.
That's good. It's good. I'm still learning from what my grandmother taught me. I'm learning from what my mom has taught me. I'm learning from what my dad's taught me. Trust me, I learned what hot was when I was 2, thanks to my dad. Okay. Because he was the one that tried to tell me it's hot, you're going to get burned. And I, being me, it's hot. And I'm like testing. I'm going to touch it. I can touch it. He's like, oh, okay. You want to touch it? You want to test me? You want to test the oven? Cool. He took my hand and he put it right next to the oven that my mom just finished using for baking. My 2-year-old hand learned what hot was. Quick. Quick.
Check.
But you know
Yeah.
what? It helped my mom when it came to mopping. All she had to do was tell me the floor was hot.
Apparently, I didn't because I blacksmith.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Fire burns.
You,
Ugh, fire
Joey,
burns.
you've been blacksmithing since you were like 3.
Okay, Carmen, tell me about this story. I want to hear this. I want to hear this. Please, please, please.
What?
Yeah, because I
Oh.
vaguely remember. Please.
Okay. When he was about 3, you know those plastic letters that were, letters that the magnets on the stoves.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well I used to have picture magnets and letters and numbers so that he can practice his alphabet and his numbers. All he was a smart kid. I had him all over the refrigerator. I didn't realize that they were missing. He had put them in a pot, and I turned on my oven because I was going to bake a chicken, and I smell smoke, and I'm like, why? I didn't put nothing in the oven yet. When I open up the oven, the pot with all the plastic letters and numbers were in the oven, and they had melted into the pot.
Oh wow.
So Joey has been dealing with fire since he was 3.
You're gonna make the soup, right? I bet you would have like the little vegetables and stuff like that, and he was gonna make alphabet soup or some shit like that.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean,
He had
I
letters,
vaguely
numbers,
remember.
animals. He
I
put the
vaguely
meat in
remember
there.
getting whipped because I would check because I took the one of your sewing pins and one of Pop's hammers, and I would heat it on the stove and then try to bang on it. And heat it on the
También.
stove and then try to bang on it.
También. You were a little bigger by then. Yeah, and I, try and explain to
And
him.
I'm
It's
still
hot.
doing
You
it,
can't.
and I'm too far for you to whip me.
Yeah. ¿Ya pa' qué?
All right. So I wanted to finish the classification, and I wanted to share a couple of things that I researched as well. So we had the authoritarian because I said so. We have the authoritative, which is I'm going to explain to you why. Okay. But not to be confused with having to over explain yourself. There's a difference. There's a line there. Okay. I want to make that really clear. Then you have the permissive parent, which doesn't really enforce the rules. Kids will be kids. Let them be kids. Okay. And then you have the uninvolved parent where kids are just a decoration. They're there. I guess they're kids. They're nice kids. I don't know. I don't really hang out with them that much, like in Child Star. Okay, that's the uninvolved.
Right, yeah, like in Dickie
They're
Roberts.
my children. I'm gonna call them my children because they have my name, but I have no interest in what
connection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the uninvolved parent. And you have, I'm sure that every parent at one point or another has been one of these parents. That's something that's really important to understand. And one point or another in life, you've been one of these parents because there's no such thing as perfect parenting. I'm sorry, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't exist because you're a human being. We're allowed to have bad days. And unfortunately, our kids are going to remember that one bad day. You did this one horrible thing to me until their parents and they get it.
Well,
Until
if
their
the parents don't fuck up, do we ever really grow a personality?
No, I don't think so. I think that a parent fucking up has a lot to do with our personality.
That comment was actually half comedic and For real.
It is, and I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think you're right. Now, here's the deal. I was looking up and this is where Marisa in our conversation came in, right? I was looking up the different kinds of styles of parenting based on culture, right? And then I was learning that there were Native American there was this research being done where you had these children in crisis, especially with the Native American culture, where you had a whole society that had this one beautiful synchronicity, and then things happened where it just broke down, and that include the child rearing. And the way that they would discipline their children was kind of like a combination of authoritative yet permissive. Kids will be
Mhm.
kids. I'm not going to get too involved, right? But I'm not going to allow you to do, the way that I'm going to do it is this way. It's certain like key words. You know how you were saying about the dogs and commands? There were certain
Mhm.
Right.
there was certain language that they would use a lot. Instead of saying, "You're not listening to me, you need to pay attention," they would say, "I can't wait to tell your uncle. Your uncle will be so proud of you of hearing how well you listened today." So it was like
Mhm.
honoring. It was the matter of honor. You did such a good job. I can't wait to tell your uncle how much of a good job you did today. I can't wait to my child honors and is helpful because my child helps me with building this fire because my old bones are tired. And instead of saying she's a great helper today, she says, this person, and you honor your child with all the good deeds. So it's like positive reinforcement, a lot of positive
Mhm.
reinforcement. So we call that. So I found that interesting.
I
Using
like
that
that.
instead of shaming, instead of saying you didn't do this. Mira, este se
Mhm.
portó mal hoy. And in our culture, we do that a lot. Se portó
Yeah.
mal. You're a bad girl,
Mhm.
or there's something that I remember hearing a lot, especially with certain teachers. I would hear, especially in pre-K, oh, se portó feo o está lindo, it's just like ugly and pretty. So you're shaming behavior with beauty and what's ugly and
Mhm.
what's pretty. Wait a minute. Now you're creating a shallow person, you know,
Yeah.
a physical appearance comparing to
But
behavior.
what about just being direct? I know we live in a PC world
Mhm.
now, you know what I mean, and cancel culture and all that other shit. But hey, um, what about being direct? It's like, okay, I do the positive reinforcement. You know what I mean? Because it's part of the martial arts.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah, you rolled your heart out and you still lost the match. But dude, did you see how you were able to do this? Do you see how you were able to do the other? You know what I mean? Fuck him. Forget about the person that just quote unquote beat you. Okay, he beat you, but
Mhm.
you just beat yourself because you did this and you weren't able to do this before and blah blah blah.
Mm.
But when it comes to martial arts, specifically martial arts, as you know, from my experience, is like you have to say, yeah, you did great with your right jab and blah 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 blah, and it was fantastic, but your left hand is shit. We need to work on it. That
Okay.
shit is not working.
But
Or
that's
in the
still
middle of the
positive
fight, stop throwing the
reinforcement.
kicks, dude. You did that. That shit is not working. It worked with me, but then again, everybody is different. But Sifu did it with me with some Muay Thai kicks, and he's like, you know what, Joey, do that again. Yeah, you know what? In a fight, I'd actually let you kick me. I was like,
Wow.
what? He goes, yeah, because that shit ain't gonna hurt. I'll just grab it, take you to the ground, and you're a fucking goner.
Okay. So
Now,
Mm.
from
most
what I
people would have been like, oh shit, crush. And I went, oh fuck, wait a minute. So what do I got? Let me get better. And now if I go back to the school, it's like, okay, we're gonna practice against Muay Thai kicks. Joey, come here, because if they don't block, you're gonna fucking rip somebody's head off. Now it's completely different. I was like, I don't want to get touched by that.
Mhm.
You definitely don't want to get touched by that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sifu don't give a shit because I can't touch Sifu. You know what I'm saying? But still, you know what I mean? Everything changed because he pointed out directly, no fucking filter, no garnish on it. This is fucked up. You have to work on this.
Well, then that's when
You know what I mean?
parenting, that's when you're parenting and you, especially when you have different children. There's no
Mhm.
one
Right.
way to work with. What worked for me may not work for you. What worked for you may not work
Exactly.
for Alexis. What worked for me may not work for
Exactly.
Samantha or Christopher.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're
it
talking
all
about
depends
people.
it depends on the individual's personality.
Mhm.
You know, what, like she said, what I did with you doesn't work with Alexis. And probably what I do with Alexis, you would just look at me and laugh. You know, it's
Well,
different
thus
personalities and you got
far,
to find
and I
a way
think it's
around
safe
it.
to, I think it's safe to say I've had at least 500 students, you know what I mean, go through my class, and I use it with all of them,
Mm,
and it's worked. I'm not saying that they all
okay.
become, you know what I mean, superstars or beasts, but it does work to pinpoint and kind of like aim them at their goal. You know what I'm saying? Okay, wait a minute. I have to stop going for this because this is what's not working. I have to get better at that.
Mm.
So if there was at least once or twice where it's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. It doesn't work for everybody. They're all different. All these kids, all these athletes, all these different ages, age groups, they're completely different. But the direct approach works. You know
We're
what I'm
not saying
saying?
that it doesn't. We're just
No.
saying that you're going to.
Well, my question is moving, my comments and my question is moving towards how come we're not seeing more of that when it comes to educating kids, when it comes to, and when I say educating, it's not in a school, it's as parents also,
Yeah, life
because the
education.
parents are the first educators of the child.
Yeah.
So how are we going to let a PC world tell us that we can't do the best thing for our kids? You know what I'm saying? It's
Unfortunately,
like
there
everything
is
nowadays
not.
everything is mistreating. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, everything is mistreating. You know, and I'm not gonna get into details on names and who, but I have a friend. When he was little, I think under double digits, he stole something, probably some candy or some toy, whatever, and his pop was gonna beat the brakes off him, and he's like, "Look, I'm gonna call the cops on you. I'm gonna call, make sure that you can't touch me." So his pop said, "You know what? Fine, boom," and called him. They got there, and the pop comes out with a book bag. Here's all his shit. Cause take him now, but don't bring him back when he's a fucking thief.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't take him, I can guarantee you in less than 5 minutes, I'ma beat the shit out this kid. So he'll learn not to steal. The cops turned around and said, "You know what? You have a good day." Got in their car and left. And my man caught a beat that he still remembers to this day. And he's my age. He's 46 years old. He still remembers that beating to this day. But I can tell you, I've known him since we were at least 13 years old. My man don't steal shit.
Mm-hmm.
My man doesn't steal shit.
Yeah.
So, but right now, nowadays, 2022, March 17th, 2022, you do that shit, you have a world of hurt to deal with. You're a bad parent. What? How the fuck does that come out? You're trying to, yes, once again, we go back to, I understand how putting your hands on a kid gets to a point where you're doing more harm than good. But being direct, let's not talk just about putting the hands on the kid. Let's talk about being direct with the kid, being straight up. This is what's up. Using whatever language you have to, even if you have to use one of these. That's frowned upon nowadays. Yet you can see everything from crime to dropouts to just plain human stupidity on the fucking rise. So if we're not allowed to do what works, how do we get around that?
But I think part of the problem is we have so many kids that are, and I say kids as in, just like Sandy was saying, we are looking at parents. Like I have parents that are my child's age, and they're supposed to be parenting another human being, and they were barely parented. They don't understand that there's a difference between abuse and discipline. There's a difference between catching a kid because they done such and such and such and losing your temper and knocking the shit out of them for something relatively small.
Because you had a
Like
bad day.
me, exactly. Me personally, I have this issue with, you know, with in my own home with their dad, because I had to get him to understand, yeah, I whooped them. They know you push me, and I've tried to weigh that balance between being the authoritative parent and the permissive parent. Sometimes I'll let you do stuff because I feel like you're a kid and you need to do it. But I also try, if I have to whoop you, I'm going to try to explain to you, this is what happens. Like, they knew when they were little, if the teacher comes and tells me, what, baby? The teacher comes and tells me you did such and such and such. If you ask me, if I ask you about it, you better tell me the truth. But you automatically catching 5. You automatically are catching 5 licks because you lied to me. Like they knew from the time they were like 6, 7, 8 years old. These are the consequences, and then we can talk about whatever you did and whether or not you're gonna get some extra licks or what. And sometimes, like, I had to, kind of go to bat for my kids. I'm like, you just mad over what they did, but you're not taking the time to actually talk to them to find out what happened or get them to understand why they shouldn't do that. And a lot of parents they're tired. They're working. They're tired. They come in and they're just like, the teacher called, and they just jump on the poor kid's head, or they just don't want to deal with it. So they just are like, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Or the kid comes back. I have a student right now. This little boy, every single time I talk to his mom, he comes back and he says, but the other kids were doing this, but the other kids were doing that. I don't give a shit what the other kids were doing. What was you doing? But his mom falls for it every single time. Huh?
I encountered that a lot.
Oh, that happens all the time.
It's like a subculture building up. You know what I mean? That everybody, and I'm talking all ages, from class to just walking around in the street. Well, if they do it, I gotta do it. Well, how come I can't do it if they do it?
You can't think for yourself. My answer to that is, wait a minute, hold on. You're so weak-minded okay, Carmen. You're so weak-minded that you can't make your own decisions. Is that what you're saying?
I honestly don't think that humans are breeding leaders anymore.
No, the society is.
Huh?
I'm looking at the lashes now because Joy just
without a predestination of what the parent would want. Without a predestination of what the parent would want in the kid, shouldn't we be pushing for stuff like that?
For leadership?
You know what I'm saying? And okay, it's difficult to say leadership because leader can be anybody and is everybody. You know what I'm saying? The saying, lead by example?
Yes.
Or be the change you want to see in your world. You don't decide you're a leader. Other people decide you're a leader by following in your footsteps. A leader doesn't say, yo, go do this. A leader says, well, I'm going to do that. If you guys don't want to follow me, then go fuck yourselves. I'm going to do it. And it comes out so well that then people start following and yay, fucking leader. But you know what? But I don't see there's any push towards not just the kids, anybody in society nowadays to, do your own thing. Do your own thing. It's okay. You don't have to dress like this. You don't have to speak like that. You don't have to listen to the other. Do you?
And I think that's part of the problem is that so many people are following the wrong people. They're following trends. And they're following, it's like, okay. And I'm sure, I don't know if you had to deal with this or not, Sandy. We had all those trends at the beginning of the year. It was the one where they were breaking stuff in school was a trend, where they took videos of it and then they posted it. And then
the challenge, the TikTok challenge.
Yeah. The channel, the one I said.
Time out. They would break school property, which is illegal. Right? Depending where you are, it's actually a misdemeanor. Filming it and posting it online.
Correct.
Yep.
Wow.
The definition of dumb shit.
Exactly. And then there was the one that I said that would make me lose my job and perhaps my teacher's license, which was the slap a teacher trend.
Right.
I wish a kid would. And
this is the thing. The kids know. El mono sabe el palo que trepa.
Yes.
yep.
Yes.
Okay? Because
They know who to get
this is
away
the
with.
issue. This is the issue that we're having right now, right? As far as my school is concerned, I have a group. I got my 8th grade group, and they're like, I'm over here trying to like talk to them and say, look, y'all may think that I don't love you. And it's because y'all are acting spoiled. And so I don't feed into that. I don't go, well, let's try to do this. And I don't do that. If you want to act out, you're gonna get treated. You want to act like a child, you're gonna get treated like a child. And I don't treat children who are acting spoiled any other way except for spoiled children. Okay. You're
Yep.
not gonna get any type of enforcement from me. You're not gonna get any type of celebration, none of that, because you don't deserve it. Because you didn't. I don't reward that behavior. But
Yep.
how come you don't do all of those things that I'm hearing the complaints from the other teachers about in my class? How come I don't hear in my class? How come I don't hear that you over here acting out, talking back, doing all this other thing? Oh, you want to try to, oh, wait a minute, hold up. You think that you fit in my mouth? You think I fit in your mouth? You want to get live? Wait a minute, hold up. Come to me and talk to me about that. And when they see that, I square up and I'm like, who you think you're talking to? Let
Yep.
me remind you who you are. Wait a minute. And once again, calling mama, calling papa, calling grandma, calling whoever. I don't fit in your mouth. You don't get to speak to me that way. If I speak with you with respect, you better speak to me with that respect. I demand it.
Mhm.
I'm not used to that. So I'm like, and I've said it. I don't care how you speak to your adults in your house, in my classroom. You're going to speak with me with respect. Point
Exactly.
blank.
Exactly.
How
You
it
know
goes.
what? I also go through that, but it's expected because I teach martial arts. And there was an interview they did on Horion, on Horion Gracie. And he's like, yeah, every now and then, the younger guys, they test, they're like little lions. Every now and then they want to scratch. It's just natural in them. Look at the animals. They do the same thing. They're gonna test just to see where they can go to, and rawr, just gotta give them a little nip.
But this is the
Dogs
thing.
do it.
I was looking into the like I said, I was going into the different cultures. I was looking at the
And
child.
let me clarify real quick to everybody out there. When I'm saying we're saying like little nips and this, that, and the other, this is not a podcast pro kick the shit out the kid.
No.
No.
Something as simple as no.
No.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Is more
And
than
no means
sufficient.
no.
But no is a word that is not told to kids as much as it should be. I understand when people say, listen, you know what I mean? The kids are the future. The kids are the future. My man. But the present is now.
Correct. And right now,
Who's
you need
running?
an ass whooping. If you need it, you need it.
For real.
Yeah.
And it's not just the no, it's not just the no, and it's not just the why, it's the consistency. Don't say no and then give in later.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
and
and
you
also,
say no,
I'm sorry.
no, and then you're
Also,
all right. Go ahead.
Yes. What about yes? Everybody's wearing this. Everybody looks like that. They're all a carbon copy, one of the other, and all of them are copies of some schmuck they saw on some fucking video or some shit like that. And all of a sudden, here comes your kid with green and orange with a fucking elf hat, but he's walking around like he's the shit. How about going yes?
Yes.
Let that child develop into it. Look, our daughter, she wanted to go out in flip-flops in a princess dress with her face painted as an Indian to ride her bike as if it was a horse. Not only did she ride her bike, we took her to the fucking mall. You know what I'm saying? And after she grew up with this, she's like, why did you guys let me go out like this? Because that's the way you felt that day.
Yeah.
And we're going to help you promote you as only you express. What's wrong with that? No. You're gonna look the fool. Don't dress like that. Don't do this. Don't say that. Don't do the other. Nobody would have ever invented shit if they listened to every time somebody told them. So how about telling them yes? You guys do that.
That's right. So that's the other thing. Another thing that I think we've lost, because I remember growing up this way. I don't know if Baraka felt that way when she was growing up, but we had this. Our parents had a network of a community that would raise us. It wasn't
Oh
just
my
our
God.
parents; it was the neighbors. It was the aunts and the uncles and the aunts and uncles that really weren't aunts and uncles, but they were aunts and uncles to us because we didn't know
Yeah.
the fucking difference.
Exactly.
And in
It was
Puerto Rico, they're
There's
probably
always
family
eyes
anyway.
around watching.
exactly. It was all of us. And that's actually something, especially in with us of the Caribbean. That's what we inherited as far as the African way of rearing children, because it takes the
Mm.
village, right? They would say it
Yep.
takes a village
Yeah.
to raise one child, but the rest of the saying, according to this article I was reading, but it takes a community to help the parent. And the truth of the matter
Mhm.
is
Mm.
that parent, it was no sweat off of anybody's back. It was expected. If something happened to a parent that they couldn't take care of their child at that moment, an emergency of
Yep.
a day, a week, a month, a year, that that family, that neighbor would take in that child and raise it as if they were their own, because it's everybody's child. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what you're doing is consolidating who that community is.
Resources
The
Mhm.
resources, as far as the
are
Tainos were concerned, the women were in charge of making a lot of decisions, but it was everybody's child that was being raised by everybody. It
Mhm.
Yep.
wasn't one person. That idea of you can't do that to my child. I wish somebody would tell my child one thing. That's my kid. You don't tell my kid what to do. When did that happen?
Yeah.
Because
And
what
that I think is a huge problem we have now, because it's not just, oh, I don't know you, you're telling my child something to do. It's extending to teachers,
exactly
where we tell a child to do something and the parent wants to be like, oh, you can't tell, you can't tell them something to do, you can't tell them this, or you can't tell them that. But you know what, man, I spend more time with your kid than you do.
exactly.
Yup.
So,
Yup.
Mhm.
you want to come back and tell me that you want to basically be like, okay, I can't tell your kid anything, but your kid is here at school, 8,
With
9 hours out the day with
That's what I
me,
tell my
and
parents
then
all
he
the
gets
time.
home and he's by himself for 2 hours
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
you're still at work, and you see him for an hour, maybe, before he goes to bed.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
So, but you want to be mad when I have something to say to him.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Or the other ones. Welcome back to the helicopter parents. The ones that will
Yes.
go ahead and try to make excuses for their child for their misbehavior. So we had
Oh
a
yeah.
parent meeting. I'm not even gonna go into who, what,
Mom
whatever.
never did that. They call mom in and she'd be like, "What did he do?"
Uh,
But
so
that
there was
was
a
because
I
she knew
wonder
her
why.
child.
this is
She
how I
knew
learned.
her
I'm
child.
gonna tell you that my experience as a teacher
Exactly.
here.
I know. Yo sé lo que él da.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. You have parents that do know. Okay, I know my child. Yep, yep. My child did this. My child did that. Yep. And I love those parents. I'm like, and those parents, I say, you have my support. What you need me to remind your child about? What did you say at home so I can remind them in school? So
Mhm.
I work with my parents that way. I was like, you said this, right? Let me know.
Yep.
So I'm like, wait a minute. Am I calling mom about that phone? Am I calling mom about that console that she took away? Do I need her to add another week?
Mhm.
And watch that kid line up. Oh, hold on, wait a minute, Miss
Right.
Felicies will call my mom and this, that, and
For
the other
real.
thing. And I will. But then you have the other parent that'll make excuses for their child. So yesterday there was supposed to be a parent meeting. This is how I learned how to handle things. I learned this both in business as well as in teaching, and I apply it to both. My time is valuable, is extremely valuable. I spend too much time doing this job away from my family, and my family's right next to me watching me be immersed in my job when I should be having family time. Okay.
Yep.
So, because
Teacher and
exactly,
parents
teacher
are a
and parent
team.
are a
Yes, it
team. And
should
that's
be.
exactly what I tell my parents.
Could be.
We are a team for your child. We are a team. And I mentioned the
And
child
she
name.
said, "Yeah, well, they should be."
Exactly. And that's how it is. I'm like, you got me as your support system. I'm here for you, but I need you to have my back. You see what I mean? I let
Mhm.
my parents know, if I don't feel that you're supporting me, don't ask me for anything else because you're not going to get it. I'm straight up, and a lot of parents like it, and a lot of parents don't, and I don't feel sorry. I'm like, oh well, this is how it is. So if I ask your parent to get there, and you tell me I'm going to be there at 3 o'clock, right? And it's 3:15, and you haven't gotten there, but you haven't called to say, I'm so sorry, I'm running late. Please, yeah, I'll be there in this amount of time. I'm
I'm
out.
out.
At 3:15, I was out the door because I could leave at 3, right? I was gonna stay
Mm.
there till 3:45. I'm gonna leave at 3. You didn't show up 3:15. Oh, guess my time. It's time for me to go. You know why? Because I have my family to handle. You don't know how to handle and rein in yours. I, my job is not to teach you how to parent. My job is to
Mm.
educate your child. The parenting
Right.
is your job. I need you guys to remember that. As a parent, I need to remember that as far as the teacher is concerned. But as a parent myself, I know that you need support. So you have me. I am a definite cheerleader for those parents. I'll look at the child and I said, what do you think you're doing? Your mom is over here working overseas, away from you, busting their butt to do all these things for you, and you're going to do her like that? And
Mm-hmm.
you see the parent like, thank you. You know, that validation is important. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
you are a team member. So it does take a village. And I'm a firm believer of that. It does take a
Right.
village. But we also have, as parents, we also have to be like, be aware that that village includes parents, grandparents. It
Mm-hmm.
includes, you know, all these. With your advice will be solicited when requested. Be respectful of the parenting style because maybe when you were parenting us, that might have been good at the time, but this is a different time, and you do have to make
Right.
micro adjustments. But if the wheel is not, you
Mm-hmm.
know, if it fits, it fits. Don't reinvent
Yeah,
the wheel. If it's
we
not
can't go too
necessary.
much with the Kohen and Pena
So
of the parent,
Nana
but
had Nana
in
had a comment.
situations like, yes,
What's up, Nana?
I was just gonna say that a lot of parents need to remember, even though the kid is at school 5 days a week for 8 hours, they need to remember that teachers are not their babysitters. Like
Yeah.
I've seen, like they're not your kids' babysitters. I'm not gonna sit here and discipline your kid for
Mm-hmm.
no, like, as
Yeah.
a parent should. I'm not your kid's babysitter
Or not your kid's
Right.
parent, more like.
or parent.
I'm not your kid's parent. I'll call you my kid. I'll call you my baby, but that's because I love what I do. I have passion for what I do. And I'll
But I'm
always
not your
say,
parent.
but I am not your parent. I am just your teacher. And I'll just say, I'm just your teacher. And some of my students who might be watching this, my ex-alumni, some of my old students who might be watching me, like, well, you were a parent to me. And you know what? Because I loved you that way, because that's how I am. That's who I
Yeah.
am. You know, I will look at this child and I will give them that love. Though, regardless, Monkey had a problem with me giving that kind of love to any of my students that wasn't her. She was extremely jealous as a student child, because I did teach our daughter for a while, and she was like, "No, that's my mom." You know, okay, fine. She's Mrs. Felicies to you, but from at this time, that's it. You no more connection. Leave her alone. That's my child. That's my mom. You know, she would like make that disconnection. She's like, you can't get into my my mom's life. I'm there. Remember when we had Jose coming over for a while, and she was like, "Why are you doing here?" And I was like, "Because he needs some help, and I figured you can tutor him." Okay, I'm tutoring him, but you don't get to. She's like, "No, my Sandy." You know? Because she was like,
Nana's been there. She
as
knows.
a teacher, I don't
It's
want to
okay.
hear her as a mom, you know, and I get
Huh?
that, you know.
You're not my teacher.
Yeah. I'm
Say
still
what?
your mama though. No, I said Nana's been there.
Yeah, I bet. Have you ever
one
been?
thing that I'm very glad to say that I'm seeing more of are dads being allowed to actually play a bigger role in their child's life. I'm
Yes.
seeing the whole judicial when it comes to it's unfortunate divorce and having to separate from the kids and blah 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 blah. It's completely unfortunate. The fortunate thing is that now the law is changing and actually giving custody to these male figures. And I'm happy to say that two of my brothers, three, I'm going to say three because Big Bro handled his shit
Oh, hell
with
yeah.
his kids. You know what I mean?
Hell
They
yeah.
were
Mm-hmm.
always on top of the kids, on top of the homework, on top of everything that we've said that unfortunately, through instinct, we said, yeah, so the mom. So blah blah blah. Yeah,
Mhm.
the mom, and we'll say parent, but we'll directly go towards the mom. Now, very soon, it's going to be parents and just parents because the men are playing a lot bigger role, and it's
because
thanks
it
to
takes
the
a village.
judicial system that's actually giving them an opportunity to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And I
saying?
think that society has a lot to do with that. Society has a hell of a lot to do with that because it was expected for the mother to be the first
Yeah.
educator, the child rearer, and the one to educate and discipline the child, and father was there just to back it up. We were listening to it,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
Dads were afraid of being too heavy-handed with discipline, so that's why mom would be the discipliner. um
Right.
but the truth of the matter is the kid needs everybody, needs mom, needs dad, needs uncle, needs auntie, needs cousin, needs sister, needs neighbor, needs the priest, needs the teacher, needs the
The
store
baker.
owner,
Yep.
needs the baker,
Mhm. Mhm.
everybody. The child needs everybody to make some form of impact on in their lives, because this is an interaction every day. You had people impact you that you probably don't even, they don't probably, they might remember you, but they have no idea how much of an impact they might have made of you, which were those brothers, those Muslim brothers that were across the way from you. you know just a couple of words every now
Downstairs
and
on the corner. I loved them. I absolutely loved them. I think their names are Brother Yusuf and Brother Daniel.
you see.
You still remember? Wow.
And this is something
I,
that
I
Carmen,
love
right?
those
Carmen is
men.
just
To
like,
this day, I
Yeah.
love those men.
yes.
Wow.
And that's something that just, the
They were
neighbor.
the only individuals that dad would actually, while he'd go to the store, whatever, he'd let me chill with them. He wouldn't even let me chill with the neighbors, with Papo, unless it was in
Mm.
the apartment. And Papo has singing me since what? I was like 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? May
About
he rest
four.
in
About
peace.
four.
Since I was really young. And no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. He'd leave me with those 2 Muslim brothers, man. That's, you never know who's gonna make that impact in your life.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
it does take a village. And what I think that, now that we have global access to information, um, because we're already hit an hour and 27 minutes. It's amazing how time just goes zip like that. But now
So
that we
yeah,
have,
since you said that about we're towards the end of the show, I wanted to ask you real quick. So do you think we can sum up parenthood and parenting as society and being a productive part of society?
well, that's the goal, don't you think?
They're synonyms. They're
Yeah.
synonyms if you put them into action.
That's the goal, because even if you go back to the indigenous ancestry, the Tainos, the whole point was building the society and making the right choices and helping the village to be healthy, strong. Everybody had different roles, but at the same time, if there was a need, it didn't have a gender role. Whoever could do it should do it. You
Yep.
know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you had the
Mhm.
warriors. The warriors, maybe a lot were men, but there were also female warriors. You had the
Yes.
caciques. Maybe the caciques majority were men, but you had at least one female cacique in Puerto Rico, which is like a cacique Juisa from Loíza, right?
Mhm.
um you have the shaman were usually men that we know of, and we can only know based on what the Spaniards documented, because we lost the oral tradition because of the history. But the truth of the matter
Yeah.
is everyone did their part in helping rear those children, right, and showing them the way. The women were master farmers in the Taino culture, but it didn't mean that the men didn't do farming. Of course they did.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
the most of the men did the crafting with making the canoes, but it didn't mean that the women didn't make the canoes. Of course they did, because if you have to make the canoe, you make the canoe. It can hold 2 or it can hold 20. So it
Whoever
really,
can has the
whoever can
responsibility to.
do. And I think that we, as a society, I think we need to go back to that that universal way of living, because we're at a point where we've separated ourselves so much into our little boxes, like we are on this podcast. We each have our own little box, right? But the truth of the matter is we need to share, what we have, so that Carmen can have a little bit of what Joey and Baraka and Sandy can offer, and Joey can have a little bit of what all three of us can offer, and Baraka can have a little bit of what all three of us can offer, so that we all have equal information for us to grow into a better society. Isn't that what we do here in Torre anyway? So as parents,
that's exactly what Torre Del Viejo does.
Right.
so as parenting is concerned, my goal, right? Because I'm still working on Jomiji, and if you know who I am, you know what Jomiji is, right? On the Jomiji mission, I hope that our children will have all those aunties and uncles and grandparents and neighbors and all of that to give that little bit that they're an expertise on, so they can be that much more richer than we were when we were kids, with all this information, this knowledge, and they can choose what they like. You only took one day to teach that boy, el nieto de Olga, ¿cómo se llama? La de Jose. You only took one day. How long did you take? Like 10, 15 minutes to show him how to plant beans or something like that? And the boy is
Simple
still planting.
Wow.
He's still planting. 10 minutes of your time was able to be enough of an impact to show this boy, who is now a young man, right, that this may be a path that he's interested in. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So as long as we're doing something positive, we're not hurting anybody in the process, I don't see why not be part of that village to help raise the child. If you're the authoritarian, be the authoritarian when it's necessary, but not all the time. Be authoritative.
And also, if a person believes that's true, that it takes a village to raise a child, is like back in Puerto Rico, nor Monkey nor Nate can walk around and not find at least 20 people that know us. And they better watch out where they go. You know what I mean? Because we'll find out quick, fast, and in a hurry. And they're what, 24 and 27?
Yep.
If you believe, yes, it takes a village to raise this child or to better the community, open your doors to the community. Don't say, yeah, that's true. Don't tell my child what to do. You know what I mean?
No.
It's like you never know where you're gonna get the spark from. And just how much of an impact that person's gonna be on you. So I think
have the natural ability to tune out their parents' voices anyway. So you need that other voice to tune in.
For real.
Sometimes that other voice reinforces the parents' voice.
Exactly.
Exactly what you told them. Well, somebody else just has to tell them the same thing.
And say, mira, no le haga caso a tu mamá, pero lo que ella dijo fue verdad.
It's all right, Mom. You got like another 25 years before it'll turn its way around. I'm gonna be telling you stuff like, get the sock out the soup, and you're not gonna give a shit. You're gonna put it in there anyway.
Yeah, he wants to get a hold of me. I didn't get that last one. I had a phone call coming in. 24 years before what?
You'll be fine. I got you.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I got you, honey.
Just remember, I already apologized. So in advance.
That was great. Look,
this was a great conversation about parenting and parenthood. I want to thank everybody who's watching us, who watched us, who will watch this in the future. Any last words before we sum up the show?
Whatever you do, don't be uninvolved.
Exactly. Yeah. Be consistent. Be consistent. If you're saying no to don't touch the flame, then you don't touch the flame. It's always no.
Fire, burn.
Fire, yeah.
Fire hot.
And stop doing this to keep your kids quiet.
And I will say this.
No,
Sandy,
no.
Sandy, you were talking about culturally, about being more positive. I literally went to a whole training, and I have other teachers that be like, oh, why are you like that with the kids? They're so bad. Called Capturing Kids' Hearts. That is literally based just on that, about focusing on the positive.
Yep.
And sometimes, for a lot of kids, That's what they need, because they hear nothing but you suck, you're a bad kid, you're this, you're that, and telling them something as simple as, oh, look, you got 2 correct. Even if they got 18 wrong, will make them do so much better.
Or what I tell my kids, they're like, Miss Felicies, you don't love me because you're always, and I go, baby, the fact that I'm always on you and pushing you to do better is because I love you.
Exactly.
If you see me telling you, okay, fine, and I'll stop arguing with you, that means I've already stopped investing my time, because I think that my time is valuable. I stopped investing my time in you, and I'm going to focus on other students who I think are going to take advantage of it.
Yep.
So when you
If I take the time to deal with you,
beware, be aware. And they're like, yes, ma'am. And they understand it. They're like, because I have to break it down to them. I was like, I'm pushing you to do what I know you can do. Whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. There, you got to trust me in knowing that I know better. Whether you believe it or not, like you do with me in the training. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. Get it done. And I'm over here looking at you like, why do you hate me? It's not. He knows that I can do it. And he hates the glares, and it's heartbreaking. But you know what? He was right. I fucking he was right. So that at the end of the day, I take those same lessons in the gym and I put them in the classroom. It's made me a better teacher.
Just so you don't feel alone, I do it with all my athletes.
Thank you.
And I teach in this middle school, and one of my athletes has a spina bifida. Right, but like severe, he can't use from the waist down. He has to wear diapers and all that stuff. And I did what I know how to do, and it's be direct. Even using, if I have to, I will use a couple of colorful words. I will just look at them in the face and just be like, because I gotta get to them. And I told them, look, if every kid in here has money and they're showing the money, yours is hidden in your pocket, you can't use your legs and you're in a wheelchair, you're the first dude they're gonna try to rob. That's just dead ass. Because you can't run away, you can't kick them in the nuts, you can't do none of that shit. So you have to work out harder than everybody here. Or just get used to your wheelchair and get used to being called a victim for the rest of your life. Now, some people will say, Joey, you're fucked up. The way you said it, that is really fucked up. And that it may not be exactly, but vulgarities and everything, that's exactly how I spoke to him. And let me tell you, this kid is the most feared in that group. Feared.
Wow.
They do not want to grapple with him. And I start the other kids standing up.
Grappling.
And he's dragging. No. It ends up grappling because he brings them down to his world.
Yes.
Wow.
But I allow the other kids to strike.
Wow.
I actually the other kids to kick him, to try, obviously not try to knock him out within a training context. You know what I'm saying? But go at him, kick him, try to punch him, keep him down there. Why would you even give him an opportunity to try to get up when you know he can't? And then I pull him aside and like, dude, the only way you're winning this is bringing them into your world. And let me tell you, they fear his grip, they fear his strength, they fear his ferocity, though controlled, because I spoke to him straight up. This is what's going to work. This is what's not going to work for obvious reasons. You can use that as an excuse, or you can use that as motivation to get stronger in other places. And my man is no joke. My man is no joke.
That's fantastic.
So I honestly think there should be more of that. If it works, everybody said a true martial artist would say martial arts is life and life is martial arts. If it works for martial arts, it should work for life. I don't lie to Nate. I don't lie to Monkey. I don't lie to my kids. It's just straight up. This is what's up. If I have to apologize, I apologize. Be straight up. Don't create a bubble because bubbles pop.
Okay. How you getting dropped off, Mom? Here. Take that.
No, I just came to chill with that.
Mom, any last words?
For a little bit though.
No,
Did you
just
call?
hey, be consistent. Be consistent.
Most
we're gonna
definitely,
keep
most
consistent with
definitely.
these podcasts, and we're gonna keep bringing up Nana. What you got to say, Nana?
Nothing really. I had to hold the phone.
She's the camera.
She was just holding.
So,
She's just holding the phone for me because somebody came to talk to me for a second.
Okay.
all right. So
Well, I want to just shout out
everybody
real
who
quick.
saw us, yes.
I want to shout out real quick to Bianca. I want to thank her for her comments. I want to thank Alexis. I want to thank Annie. Thank you. And Aaron. I want to thank Paco, Monica for tuning in, and everybody else who'll be tuning in afterwards. Still
Big
comment.
shout out to Paco. Big shout out to my brother Golo. You guys are fucking heroes. Understand this. You're picking up the fucking torch, man. Single fathers handling their shit.
It is
No
not
doubt.
easy to be a single parent. It is not easy to be the adult in a child's life, but it's not impossible. It's okay to ask for help. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that.
The village, baby.
The village. That's what we're here for. Nada. Thanks again, Pa. Thanks again for those amazing questions. Like always, you and your curiosities always will put us on like, let me think about that. I love those questions. So yeah. Apple on the desk. What you think, guys? Did we crunch? Did we take a crack off the apple?
I think so. Have a good night, everybody who's watching us. Torre del Viejo, stay tuned.